Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. My name's Lisa Redamozo. Thanks for joining us for our Upward Bound Math and Science, Designing an Effective Summer Component. We're really excited for you to join us. I think it's perfect timing for a lot of reasons. I can't help but, fill in or actually fill you in on what I'm working on right now or what we're working on here at NEC is the Talent Search and EOC proposal competition. But I think it's appropriate to bring up certain things that we know that we're going to see or have to face or have to deal with in the future with Upward Bound. So it's a combination of what we would regularly do to let you know, hey, these are some ideas on how you can, make your summer component, make sure that it's as effective and strong as it can be, but also letting you know what, here's some things that are coming down the pathway that you might want to be aware of. Because if it's one thing that I'm going through right now is I didn't have enough time, so to speak, to prepare for the focus shift. Are we okay there? We got somebody coming on?
Yeah, that was Granville.
Oh, okay, there you go. Okay. And so just kind of, adding a little bit more to what you probably expected, but just trying to tie it in as to why it's important to at least be aware of some things that we think are going to impact Upward Bound very quickly. Again, my name is Elizabeth Lisa Redamozo. I'm the CEO of NOSOTROS Education Center. Been in Trio for almost 33 years. Um, and I started at the Boys and Girls Clubs in Greater Fort Worth, and I was the director there for multiple talent search and Upward Bound projects for over 11 years there. So my heart and soul is there with the with Boys and Girls Clubs and with those first trio programs that we established and managed. And I thought that Upward Bound was going to be a breeze after doing talent search. When you work with over 800 students, we need to mute everyone. Thank you. When you work with over 800 students, and you think, oh, here's Upward Bound, I can do that, part-time by myself. That's how, wrapped up in talent search I was, not realizing how unique and how demanding Upward Bound is. The small number of students does not mean, less work. In fact, it probably means, the opposite. But anyway, we'll fill you in on that. I had to learn the hard way, and I do have a very, very healthy respect for Upward Bound. It's a intense program. So when I'm working on the talent search proposals right now, I am also thinking about, okay, for Upward Bound, what we need to talk about. And what we need to really talk about is having a really strong summer component. I do believe that's going to be looked at before. It's going to be looked at like it's never been looked at before because we're under new management, so to speak, Department of Labor, and they've got some things that they want us to make sure we tie career and career pathways to our students as well as college, both of them. So something I'm going to mention and something that I've had to do some research on for the talent search proposals is finding out what resources are out there because they clearly state that we are not supposed to develop these services ourselves or to create anything new. What they're saying is that we need to be effective or utilize the resources that we do have to tie into products or services that are available because there's no way we can do it on our own. So right now in talent search, we have some priorities that have come up where we're having to focus on how we can tie into existing services or partnerships so that we can create or expand awareness or connections to, not necessarily something that we're going to have to do ourselves because we can't. I don't have the capability, for example, in Upward Bound to develop the academic curriculum. I don't have the STEM background or the time to develop STEM workshops, and I don't have the time to develop or the expertise to focus on developing social emotional learning and our college awareness and financial aid information workshops. Time is money. So one of the things I wanted to do here is as we talk about the regulations for Upward Bound Maths and Science, just a little bit of regulatory language, not a whole bunch. We're going to also tie in some resources, materials, workshops that not only fit with the regulations, but also are getting you ready for the future when we have to connect these things to career pathways as well. So I'm so glad and honored that we have as our co-presenters, we have Chris Scott, the executive director from Woven Learning. We also have Linda Walls, academic solutions advisor from Cambridge Education Services, and we have Luis Perez Jr., founder and COE of Pre-Degree. And they're here to share their resources, their information, and how they work closely with Upward Bound programs across the country to help them provide and implement successful summer components. Okay. So you also have their websites here. They're hyperlinked as well. We're going to ease into or transition into each individual person's expertise in just here a second, and they'll get a chance to introduce themselves, talk a little bit about their background, but then tie into how they believe you can, the resources that they have can tie into your summer programming. And also we'll have time for Q&A at the very end, or if you want to ask your question, because I hate to make people wait to ask, but if you'll put that in the Q&A, it is now open, going right up and running. And Chris, Linda, and Luis will have access to that as well. Or if you want to wait till the very end to ask some questions, that's totally up to you. Okay. So that's kind of how that is structured. I do want to backtrack a little bit and remind you about NOSOTROS Education Center. After being a director of Upward Bound and Talent Search, I, by accident, became a full-time TRIO consultant. So I'm still 100% TRIO. Um, it's just now that my percentage of time and effort is split, across, dozens of, and we look back, hundreds of projects across the country. So our mission here is to promote the effectiveness and impact of TRIO programs and other educational opportunity programs, not just TRIO. But here are some of our services, or pretty much here are all of our services. The majority of them are allowable cost. Um, if when you get your slide deck, I know that it was just a little while ago when we uploaded the slide deck into the shared Google Drive. When you click each one of these here on the slide deck, it'll take you to our website if you want more information about these allowable cost services. So keep us in mind, especially as your year is wrapping up. You have some carryover. That's my best friend is carryover. We're usually not a planned expense, but it comes up when you have extra money and personnel and fringe. We're here to provide you with quality services, and it's not frivolous spending. You actually get a really good value for your money. And we focus on compliance, regulatory training, onboarding, project implementation. Virtual compliance assessments are real popular, helping folks getting their policies, procedures manuals up and running, those kind of things. And of course, we put down at the very bottom the three unallowable costs, which are proposal development and technical reviews that we're deep in right now for talent search and EOC. This is a nice break, though, to be able to do this with y'all. I needed this break from the proposals. We also help folks collect data. Maybe you just need someone to help you collect the data for your target area. And then we do have our proposal writing workshops. More information about our proposal writing workshops. And I forgot Donna to remind me about the dates. We talked about dates, setting dates. So I don't know if we have that yet on our calendar. If you want to give folks the link to our NEC calendar in case you want to plan on joining us for any of those proposal writing workshops. We do have at the very end of this slide deck information about an allowable cost professional development workshop that we did, talking or stressing about the needs assessment based on the regulations, which is an allowable cost. We did that. So that's a pretty good beginner, not beginning, but to kick off your Upward Bound competition writing session. It's an allowable cost. We go through the regulations. We don't talk directly about the proposal, but we talk about the regulations that come up in a proposal. And we did have that in March. We have the recording. We're also developing a course for it, but that's a good way to kick that off. And then we'll actually upload and give you more information about the proposal writing workshops that we have going on that are not an allowable cost later on. Okay, just wanted to put that out there, let you know where we're coming from. This workshop, of course, is one of the services we provide as a free resource. The purpose of today's session is to explore strategies for designing an effective, impactful, upward bound math science summer components. It's also to get you thinking about in the future how the summer components can be looked at, I believe, differently. I believe if you're under new management, they're kind of looking at it from a completely outside approach, looking at it for the first time and probably finding out that back in the day, the summer component was the big show for Upward Bounds. It was the main event. The academic component was downplayed, was a distant second. It was all about the summer component. Of course, everybody came to the summer component. Of course, it was the biggest deal and the biggest part of your budget, which it probably still is. But I think in the years that I've been around in Trio, I see it's shifted where it's almost like the summer component. In reality, amongst us talking to directors, we feel like it almost seems like it's optional, right? Because a lot of students opt out of it. And I think because we're now under new management, they're going to look at it differently. They're going to be like old school. Well, what's going on here? How come you don't have everyone coming in the summer component, or your budget doesn't make it look like everyone's supposed to attend the summer component? Because we've been told that is the purpose, the main purpose of your programming every year, the summer component. So just, to think about that, and also to highlight some practical approaches and curriculum resources, because you cannot do it all on your own. You're not supposed to. How can we be effective and provide high quality services if we're all over the place, right? We need help. We have resources. They're an allowable cost. Time is money, that kind of thing. And also, we're going to share some program ideas that you could possibly implement immediately. Okay, so that's the purpose of this, just a discussion. Also thrown in with a little bit of, this is what I'm working on right now for talent search. So I think this is something you're going to have to deal with Upward Bound. Okay, so we do have a poll here. If you wouldn't mind participating in the poll, that would be so great. We want to know what stage of planning in your Upward Bound Math Science summer component you're currently in. We realize this may be in the middle of it or you're still working on it. Go ahead and let us know if you don't mind where you're at. Okay, and let that go for a little bit. After this slide, Donna, if you could remind me to share the results, or if you could share the results, that would be great. Why the summer component matters. I'm probably preaching the choir here. You know why it matters, but again, to the outsiders, this is what they'll be told. Now, outsiders are new folks looking at the Upward Bound program, looking forward, developing the RFP right now for it based on Talent Search and the EOC. Very different format. Okay, it used to be 100 pages, the RFP or the program application. Now it's 29 with a lot of links to going out to other places. So just in case you want to, you may want to check out the RFP, which, by the way, I believe we do have it in the Google Drive. In the link there's a folder there in case you want to check it out, just so you could see. You know how with our students we do test familiarity? I believe in RFP familiarity, meaning that, hey, you know what? I know it's not for your competition, but you may want to take a peek at it and read the priorities there, because I believe those priorities in there, the invitational and the absolute, are going to be the same for Upward Bound, or very similar. Okay. Also, since both the RFPs for Talent Search and EOC say that they're going to be, a joint thing or administered by the Department of Labor, that's the focus. They're going to talk about the Upward Bound focus like they did for Talent Search, but tie it into career pathways. So that's why I have that bolded here. That's going to be the buzzword moving forward. So the summer component matters because you want to make sure it comes across. And sometimes we have to be reminded of this, that it's the most intensive period of student engagement, right? It's the only time where you're able to have students consistently coming to class, whether it's residential or non-residential, for a period of time. So you have that opportunity to strengthen academic skills. It's very hard to do it across the academic year, right? Scattered on Saturdays. And who wants to go to school on Saturdays, right? Um, so again, that's the time. That's why it's so important, and it should be presented and treated as though it's the big show. It's the big deal. It's the biggest deal we do is a summer component. And of course, you want to make sure it comes across that there is exposure to college and career pathways. And career pathways. That's going to be what's the focus needs to be on both now. They're not saying we don't want students to go to college. By all means, you still want them to go to college, the best colleges, whatever's most appropriate for them. But you also want to make sure they have exposure to or expanded access to career pathways. That's the big deal. We're under the Department of Labor now. It makes sense, right? And of course, you want to make sure that you have services, supportive services, activities that builds confidence and motivation. They're going to need that, right? So here we have, thank you, Donna, for reminding me. I completely forgot about the poll, planning stage. So folks are partially planning, right? 72%. Some people are still getting started, still exploring ideas. Well, we're getting you at the perfect timing then, at the perfect time in your planning as you're looking for what you need to put into place, what you should have into place, or even maybe you're completely set up and you're thinking about the future. When I have to write to an outsider, what our summer component is, and if they've been given this information, like it's a big deal, it's a big deal, then you want to make sure that you are planning in the future so that even if it's not for this summer, maybe have some ways you can start planning for the type of programming that will be expected. Okay, so let's go on to the next page here. Let me see here. There we go. There we go. All right. So again, what are some key components of strong summer programming? You want to ensure this comes across very quickly, cut to the chase. You want to make sure that the first thing that comes up is you're talking about academic instruction and rigor. Very, very important. That's actually one of the priorities for talent search, believe it or not. We have $1 to help serve students, and we're now supposed to make sure students have high impact tutoring. It doesn't say for a lot of students, but we have to have high impact. So we're dealing with that. And again, I'm okay with that if I'd had more time to look for resources and to come up with, well, how can I find something that I can afford and that I can implement that has a description that it's high impact tutoring. I have to look for that. We don't have that much time in talent search, but you all do. You have time to make sure you look for that, and that's the biggest advantage that you have right now. Also, STEM enrichment and research, not only for UBMS. I believe a strong regular upward bound program has a strong STEM enrichment and research plugged into it. I always tried to run our regular upward bounds like an upward bound math science. Okay. Even though I didn't have to rise to that level with our activities and services, I just felt it made for a better program. Also, you want to stress that you've got college and career readiness. And I should have put that in bold because that's something we really have mentioned briefly in the past, but didn't really focus on. And now we want to focus on that, or don't forget to mention it. Maybe you've done it a little bit, or in the past, we haven't had to stress that so much when we're talking to folks about why we should continue to be in business, so to speak. And now you got to bring it up. Okay, we're doing it. We just maybe aren't talking about it, or maybe we need to refine it and increase it in a bit. And of course, supportive services and student development. So it can't be all about academics only, as you know, and about now college and career readiness. We've got to still keep that component of being supportive and making sure students have access to those supportive services because we've got a bunch of required services that fall under that structure. Okay, so again, today's session, what we're going to do is I'm going to lead you into talking about the academic instruction portion. We're going to have Cambridge Education Services, and each one of our presenters is going to have about 15 minutes. I hate to put that timer on you, right? 50 to speak, and I think we'll have the timer up here in a second here to let you know, just so you could know. We're not going to yank you off stage or anything like that, but just so you know. Then we're going to talk about STEM programming that I think is, and career awareness in STEM, which I think is critical not only for Upward Bound, but for both Upward Bound for Upward Bound Math Science, but also for Upward Bound. And also, I think there's some really great ideas or resources to satisfy that regulation, which I'll touch upon, where you have to try to get these students, or you not try, but you have to get them working in laboratories. And that's tough nowadays, right? When they wrote it, I guess they thought it would be easy to get people, have high school students come in and work in a laboratory. And now it's like, how can I make that happen? So we'll talk about that and share some resources and information about that. And then about our college readiness and our student development with pre-degree. Okay, so we've tried to figure it out so we can cover all those three components that we would be that have been stressed and that show that you have a strong summer component that covers those areas. So let's briefly talk about the program purpose and outcomes. Here's a little bit of regulatory language here, just so you can justify your planning, your resources that you want to get, in case you have to. But again, the purpose of Upward Bound is to generate in program participants the skills and motivation necessary to complete a program of secondary education and to enter and succeed in a program of post-secondary education. So this is a college graduation program, right? This is not just to go to college. It says and to enter and succeed. So it is like, in my mind, when I try to explain this to folks outside of TRIO, when I'm trying to recruit at the target schools or parents, grandparents, family members, this is a program that is like a private school. And when I'm talking to teachers and folks that can refer students to us, I say, you know what? It's like a private school for students who can't afford to go to a private school. It's for students that are doing pretty well considering the high schools that they go to. They're probably getting A's and B's at their high school, maybe even on honor roll. But the issue is these students are in a way not being pushed to their full potential because at their schools, they're not being pushed academically. The rigor is not there. They're doing great at that level. But if they were able to pay to go to a private school, you see how their initial academic talent can really be fostered and pushed forward. So those are the students that we try to look for in Upward Bound. Okay, those students that we can provide that gap, so to speak. So what does this mean? It means also moving forward to focusing on outcomes, not just the activities, and that's real important moving forward. When we describe an activity, we won't just say, well, we're doing academic tutoring because we have to. We're doing academic tutoring to that's based on academic rigor in order for students to be successful in college. So it's a little bit more language, but every activity you do now has to be focused on an outcome. Financial literacy, why do we do it? We do it because we're trying to get this outcome. That's the way I feel I'm having to explain everything in talent search. Instead of we do this because it's going to lead to this. And of course, we have to stress that it's supporting college access and success, like I said. Okay, so that's just a little bit on why. And we have a poll here. What area is the most challenging when planning your summer component? So I'll let you go ahead and work on that. And again, just to remind us about the required services, because we're getting into the academic instruction and rigor portion of this presentation here. Any project that has received funds under this part for at least 2 years, and I bet everyone out there, it's been already 2 years, even if you're brand new to Upward Bound, this is your first funding cycle. I believe this is going to be your third summer, right? Must include as part of its core curriculum in the next and succeeding years, instruction in these specific areas: mathematics through pre-calculus, if you've got enough students at every grade level, laboratory science, foreign language, composition, and literature. It never says that this has to happen in the summer. But again, remember, it's the only time you have the students consistently for a period of time. So that's why traditionally, right, it happens during the summer, and we try to make we force it to happen during the summer. Very, very important. Now, again, people will ask me all the time about the core, what's the curriculum? What curriculum do you utilize? And I tell them all the time, well, look at your objectives. You've got an objective that says a certain percentage of students by the time they're seniors have to score proficient on the state assessments. So definitely, I would say at the younger grade levels, they're telling you have to teach the test. Now, you probably want to do it differently from how they do it in the high school and try to make sure students not only hit proficient, but that they actually do the highest level of performance academically and get that out of the way. And then you shift on trying to promote them, try to increase the academic rigor so that you're basing it on college entrance exams like SAT and ACT to master those or to do well or be exposed to that curriculum, even though they may not be required to take it. It's still something that is the expectation. And honestly, I think they're going to come back. I think the ACT and SAT are going to make a comeback pretty soon. So I've always told Upward Bound and talent search folks, but mainly Upward Bound. Oh no, you still should be, your instruction learning objectives, I feel, should be based on SAT and ACT. And then as they get older in the 11th and 12th grade, then throw in advanced placement, that academic rigor, so to speak, so that you're preparing them to face what's in college, not just preparing them for another year of high school. So here we have which area is the most challenging when planning your summer program. We took the poll, and it's kind of, we have academic instruction, STEM programming, and student engagement, with the social emotional learning. But that seems to be the highest one. So I think we have Luis has joined us, so that's something that we can probably help or address, with you all. But there's no right or wrong answer. To me, it was always the academic instruction part. That's where I struggled. I'm not a teacher. I don't know how to do lesson plans or that kind of thing. That's not my background. I have a business background. So I knew I had to either have an academic coordinator, or when we didn't have funding for that, I was like, okay, I need to find something, right? Because what these required services mean here is that core academic subjects, of course, must be included. It must be stressed. And I will read sometimes proposals or folks or talk to folks when I do a compliance assessment, and you can tell that the academic part almost seems like it's optional, like it's a permissible service. Okay. I see that in talent search. We get that in talent search. We can't provide tutoring and instruction for everybody. So, but I know that that's going to have to, Upward Bound is going to have to change, and that the first thing you pop up and talk about, if anyone asks you, what does Upward Bound do? Oh, we do instruction and tutoring. That's what has to come off. Okay. Um, and that it's structured and rigorous. We're like a school. We're like a private school that has a summer session, and then we try to provide services to build off of that during the academic year, not the other way around, where we do most of our stuff during the academic year and just some stuff for students that can make it during the summer. No, you want to focus on preparation for college level work. That's got to come across your curriculum, or whenever you have someone looking at something, or as you prepare for the future, that is what needs to come across. Okay. So, as our first presenter, I have Linda Walls. She is going to cover the academic instruction and rigor, and she's with Cambridge Education Services, and she has a very long history with Upward Bound as well. So, I guess I can stop the sharing, and I'll let you go ahead and take over, Linda.
Okay, perfect. Let me
Hey,
see.
Louise.
Hold on, let me find my
That's fine. And we've got Linda's information. I didn't know if there's any questions for me or anything in the chat, ladies, that you guys wanted to let me know about. Are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay, great, Linda. So just you take it away when you're ready. I don't think I'm hogging the screen anymore.
Okay, can y'all see my screen?
Y'all
Can
see
everybody
her?
see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm Linda Walls, and I am with Cambridge Educational Services. Prior to that, I was a teacher for 32 years. And during those 32 years, I also worked with our neighboring Upper Bound program. So I do have a lot of experience, maybe about 20 years of Upper Bound. And prior to that, I was a student at that same Upper Bound. So I'm an Upper Bound alumni as well. So Upper Bound is really, really dear to my heart. So I'm so happy to be here. And again, my name is Linda Walls. On the screen, you see my cell number, my company number, and also my email. That way, if you have any questions or need any other information after we close here, you can reach out to me or to Granville Jones. And I have Granville here with me as well. And I'll let him introduce himself. Granville?
Hello, all. Hello, all. We appreciate the opportunity here at Cambridge. Linda and I work closely on a lot of sales and programs together, and I'm very pleased to be a part. I'm here to support Linda in any way as we talk about academic rigor. Cambridge Educational has proven test prep materials that absolutely improve student outcomes, and we're just pleased to be a part of this.
Great. I'm so glad to have you both with us, and we'll be popping up our hand to give you some about timing if needed. Okay. So go ahead and
Okay,
take it away. Thank
perfect.
you.
And you see my title, it says 20 innovative ways to get your students to attend classes and tutorials. Well, I can't do 20, because yeah, it's gonna take too much time and I'll get kicked off. So I'm gonna do as many as I can. So there's an X on that 20. So don't worry, I won't have you too long, but long enough. Okay, growth. What is growth? Growth is, and I need to hold on one second. It's the point comes at the point of resistance when we learn by pushing ourselves and finding what really lies at the outer reaches of our abilities. If your students are to be the best, you help them take those risks that others would avoid, always optimizing the learning potential of the moment and turning adversity to their advantage. So what we're supposed to be there to help optimize all these students to be able to take those risks, to be able to do the things. We know our kids and we know that they can. We just need to help them get there. They all have that innate drive to be self-determined and to be connected. When that drive is liberated, they achieve richer lives. So we're the ones that are there to help them, to guide them, to help them become liberated, to be able to achieve those richer lives that we all want. If you get into the inside of the student right, the outside will definitely fall in place. And here are my 20 things that I can't do, but I'm going to do some of them. So if you want a list of these, or if you want to see the entire presentation, please let me know. I'll be happy to do it for you. Okay, this is I love this. Get a portfolio for each of your students. Day one, come in, they have a portfolio with paper to write on, with their reports in there from already having things done. Whatever you need them, to have in that portfolio, put it in there. And I'm going to show you some real important things to have in there. Have a letter for them. Dear student, to achieve benefits of this program, you agreed to. And this is very basic, so you can change it anyway, but to attend, if they're residential, it better be 100% of the time, right? To participate in learning, to do the required reinforcements, and have them sign it. Have them sign it and date it. I'm going to do you one up. Have it notarized. Now, it doesn't have to be a real notary. They don't need to know that. Get somebody with a stamp that'll come and stamp it while they sign and record it somewhere, and it'll look good, and the kids, and you'll say, look, I have you signed this. You said you were going to do. So why are we not doing all these things? Get the parents to come that one evening and also sign that notarized letter. And you're probably thinking, how am I going to get the parents there? Well, your parents and your students are always hungry, right? Don't we agree? So get some hot dogs, some brownies, chips, a few refreshments, and get them to come in and make it a big thing, and have them sign as well with the notary. It can be a pretend notary, but have them sign it. That way the kids have that buy-in and they know that they're there for a reason. Too often we say, it's summer school, it's remedial. No, this is summer school. This is our time to shine. And then have a page that says, why should I go to college? And have them, and I'm not talking about write an essay. They can draw pictures. They can, draw a picture of their dream home. They can, whatever they see why they want to go to college, put that in that journal. Put that in that portfolio. Give them examples. It can be about building relationships, becoming a part of a community, earning a degree, of course, exploring different career opportunities. Whatever you want them or they want to do, have them put in there. Have them write it in graffiti or in language that they use on when they're texting or whatever way that they want, drawing pictures, but have all that information in there so they can go back and say, oh yeah, this is my why. And also, how about competing with those robots? I'm going to talk about them in just a minute. And then have another page that says, what do you plan to do right after high school? Have another page that says, list your extracurricular activities. Just different things so that not only are they writing about themselves and feeling good, hey, I've done quite a bit, but you can get to know them as well. Now, this one is a real important one right here. What annual salary do you want to be earning in 10 years? Do you know that we've been going into schools and we talk to students and we can ask them, what do you want to earn right out of high school? What do you think they say? Yeah. 150,000. I was like, oh, okay. All right. That's not going to be quite as easy to achieve, but yeah. 150. The kids don't realize what it takes to make that $150,000, what it takes to be successful. So we need to get them there. Put this graph in there. It says, if you earn, and less than a high school diploma, you can make some money. If you have a high school diploma but no college, you'll make some money. That's your blue line. Then you've got a line with some college or with an associate's, not bad. But look, if you have a bachelor's degree or higher, look at the gap. It starts widening. Have the students see this. They need to know that. Have them show it to them in different ways so that they can see, okay, my eye is on that prize. I want to achieve. I want to do well. I want to make that commitment to succeed. And over a lifetime, on average, they'll make $1.5 million more if they have a college degree rather than just a high school diploma. And once they start taking that in, absorbing all that, they will understand that, this commitment's going to take some time, but I'm going to do it. 3/4 of all jobs will require post-secondary education by the year 2030. Right now, 65% require that, but it's getting higher and higher. And then these graphs, I love these tables. Put these in your journal. Have them pick their top 4 or 5 universities that they want to go to. Okay, list them. They can draw the emblem, the mascot or whatever, make it pretty and whatever. And then have them research what kind of scholarships do they offer? And then what are the requirements for those scholarships? And then what do you get? Okay, what's the value of each scholarship? And then, like, if you look at that first one, Northwestern, 24 and an ACT test will get them 11,000. Okay, dig a little further. What will a 27 or a 30 get you? We had a student that had a 25. He was top of his class, great student, and so we were doing some ACT instruction to retake the test. And I asked him, I said, "Are you coming to class?" And he said, "Oh no, I'm going to go to the cooking class." And I said, "You don't want to, take the ACT again?" And he's like, "Oh, no, I'm good. I scored 25. I said, "Okay, but if you score this, you'll get," "No, I got a scholarship. I'm going to be fine." But do you know how much it costs, and how books are going to cost and room and board and everything? He's like, "Oh, well, I'll be fine." Well, that afternoon, it just so happened that I got to ride the bus with the kids to drop off, and Mom was there. So I told Mom, I said, "He's doing great. He's got a 25. But if he gets a 30, he'll double his scholarship." She's like, "What? What does he need to do that?" I said, "Well, he needs to come to class for ACT and we need to retake it." By golly, he was there the next Saturday and he did take the ACT again, and he did do really, really well. He did increase his numbers. So, make sure the kids know that. Make sure they know what the scholarships are offered, because a lot of times they don't know that they can get these scholarships just by, doing well on a test. Can you imagine if you put hour value on that? In 4 hours, I made $11,000. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So make sure they have this in their portfolio, and they can go and look at that and they can see it. Also have them look up scholarships like the Regents Scholarship, Presidential, Scholars. Different universities offer different ones. Look at that Regents one. If you make a 31 minimum, it's pretty high, yeah, but look at the value, 52,000 in 4 years. That's a lot. We want the kids to know that. I know Lisa alluded to the ACT and they don't, say, "Oh, we don't have to take any." No, you do have to take it because it proves your worth and scholarship money. So make sure that you really show the kids how much it's worth to them. And do you know how easy it is to get those points up? Well, I say easy because I didn't know that when I was in school, but to get a 19 on your ACT, you just have to get 50% of the test. That's failing in most tests, right? 50%, you get a 19. 60%, you're at a 22. 66%, you're at a 24. And of course, if you want a 33, you're going to have to score at least a 90%. But if you look at the scale scores, like say the reading, if you're at a 24, you have to have 25 questions correct. If you want to have a 25, 26. So it's point by point. So, one more question, one more question. So if they've taken it already and they say, oh, I'm good, have them take it one more time, score two more questions and increase your score and get a bigger scholarship. So that's all things that we want to make sure that it's instilled in them and they know. And then our test scores versus our grades. You got the kids that say, hey, I'm good. I'm top 10%. I'm the top student at my school. Well, it may be Linda Wall's top student at Skidmore Tynan out of 20 kids. But what about Granville over there out of top student out of 300 kids? We're not on a level playing field, are we? So we want to make sure that they understand that. High school GPAs are less of a predictor of success. SAT and ACT, those are on a level playing field, and they're a bigger predictor of college success. Okay, and the robots are here, guys. We got the kids that say, well, I'm working at McDonald's and I'm making $17 an hour. And it's like, yeah, but do you know that those jobs are going to be displaced? 85 million jobs are going to be displaced, taken over by robots. So, yes, Lisa.
Hey, Linda. I was wondering, the time you have left, could you go into the resources and the specific products that you have set up or that
Oh,
you've
yes,
utilized
ma'am.
with Upward
That's
Bound?
coming.
Because
That's
you've got
coming.
about 2 or 3 minutes left now, so we really
Oh
like
my
to focus.
gosh. Okay. Let me just show you one more slide and then we'll go into that. Okay. Has anybody been to these McDonald's right here? There's a McDonald's in Fort Worth, one in Denver, and one in Las Vegas that is 100% automated. They're automated. You go in, you get your order, you pay, you come out, and you never talk to a person. So yes, all those jobs can be displaced. Okay, here's our Cambridge program. Make sure that whether you use Cambridge or whatever materials that you pre-test them, make sure you pre-test them and put some weight on that pre-test. Because I had students that would say, it's just a test, I'll do whatever, and then I'll get the biggest gains because I'll take the post-test. Well, make sure that they do really, really well on these tests and give them, incentives. You'll get points for the end of the year trip. You'll get this, you'll get that. Give them a gift card, whoever scores the highest so that they will do well. Then get them into a really good program and then have those resources like at the bottom that will fill in just in case. Say they got put into the TSI, ACT, whatever program, and they have some gaps, be able to scaffold down and get those gaps taken care of and then go back up to where they're supposed to be. Okay, so make sure you can scaffold. Make sure that they have skills, familiarity, and practice in everything they do. And I'm skipping over because this book right here is like a Bible. College, Here I Come. It's got all the things, those classes that you're digging here and there for. So if you want a free sample of this, let me know. We also have one called College, Here I Am. That's a very good gift for your bridge students once they go, because it's a good handbook. It tells them about writing essays. It tells them about applying for scholarships, the FAFSA, all those things that are in your grant that you have to teach. This was co-written by a UB director, and it's got everything in there. So you don't have to be digging around for anything. So am I out of time?
Yes, you are, but we're going to have time for Q&A, but I just wanted to stress to y'all out there that I know that we've used Linda's products, at Cambridge, education products to develop the courses, the actual instruction, and also to teach or to facilitate the folks that'll be teaching. Also to look at what your objectives are and to find the right connection to what products or what academic instructions needed. I know you guys have helped some of my clients in the past develop their whole summer component of the academic piece, from the training to the pre-testing, the post-testing. So it depends on what y'all need. So I urge you all, and we'll put your website so in the meantime they can check that out. And also, please ask them questions right now via the chat if you got any specific questions, and we'll have time at the end of the session if you want to ask more. But I hate to make people wait, but I just want to make sure you realize or check out the all the resources that they have based on that academic rigor. Okay, we have some questions about foreign language that I'll be answering here in a bit. But thank you, Linda. I appreciate that.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely. If any of you want to reach out to myself or to Granville, please do, and we'll be happy to do this presentation with you or with your staff or your team. And thank you for the opportunity.
Sure, and they've been really great about that. I mean, you tell them what kind of budget you have or
Mhm.
need, or what your programming is, or what, and they customize it for you. So it's one of
Absolutely.
those things. So check
Absolutely.
them out. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Randall, so much. And let me
Thank
go
you.
ahead and I will share my screen now, if I can manage to do that real quick, so I can make the transition over here. And let's see here. So now we're going to go into more specifically the STEM part. Now, UBMS has to provide additional services in addition to what Upward Bound does. And that's the intensive instruction in mathematics, science, including hands-on experience in laboratories, computer facilities, and at field sites. Let me know you can see my screen, right? Am I doing it? Yay. I hope I'm doing it. You can see my PowerPoint slide deck. Give me a thumbs up, somebody. Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Because I can't see the screen right now. So what does this mean? You've got to make sure it comes across that you have a strong emphasis on math and science instruction. I think this is critical for typical upward bounds as well. I mean, not typical, I'm sorry, regular upward bounds, regular upward bounds. You want that to come across, even if you're not a math and science. And if you can, it's mandatory in UBMS. You have to show how you're connecting students to hands-on lab or research experience. That is expected. And that was really hard for me to imagine how to do that, right? And of course, exposure to STEM careers is essential. Now, I wanted to backtrack a little bit again about talking about regular upward bound. Regular upward bound and math and science, shifting to the permissible services here. We can provide information, activities, and instruction designed to acquaint youth participating in the project with a range of career options available to youth. Moving forward, this means exposing them to career pathways. That's a buzzword. Just like I put in the chat, talent marketplace. I didn't know what the heck that was. I thought they picked that as a priority or the focus of a priority for talent search, because they were thinking talent search, talent marketplace. Well, Linda, when you started your presentation, I was like, oh, that's exactly what I wish I'd known about a week ago, to kind of keep me from, talking off a ledge. Because for talent search, they want us to focus on connecting students to items or resources that are under what they call a talent marketplace. And I was like, what the heck is that? Well, when I read the description, there are digital wallets, online portfolios where you connect students that you're not supposed to build them, because that's going to take a pretty penny, but you partner or you purchase with, like Linda, you've got online curriculum, online portfolios, and that's what that talent marketplace is. That we still provide the college and career academic advising, but now we're supposed to connect students to these online portfolios. And that usually costs a little bit of money that students don't have. So that's where we can come in. But we have to know who's out there. And I didn't know, Linda, in a couple of weeks, when I was writing, I was like, who was a vendor? What is this? So now I know. And I didn't even think about y'all initially, that you had electronic portfolios that would store students' work and resumes and things like that to get ready for college. So I'm really glad to hear that. And I'm definitely going to put you on my list. So how confident are you in your current STEM programming? Okay, so we're asking you all about this. Limited, not currently offering STEM. You might want to think about that. Somewhat confident. Some of y'all are very confident, which is awesome. So let's see if we can help you out there and maybe give you more information or resources that you didn't know. Because of course we want to go ahead and make sure that we are focusing not only on that for sure for upward bound math science, but making sure it's part of regular upward bound, and also getting ready to the career pathways and focusing on real world application, because that's going to be important. I see that in writing the priorities for talent search, that's what they focus on as well. So I'm going to take it over here to Chris, coming to us from LA. He's going to cover, well, I'm not necessarily LA, sorry, California, and talk about STEM enrichment and research with woven learning technology. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, Chris. And if you would let us know a little bit about yourself, and you've got your 15 minutes.
Great. Hello, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to share. I do see a couple names in the chat that we've worked with before. Woven Learning and Technology, we are teachers. So when we talk about STEM, that's something that we really love getting into. So really the way it works is we get to build out some really amazing curriculum and line up some incredible teachers to help run these workshops. I'll get into that also as I get into this. So We really focus on inquiry based. That's really leaning into curiosities. Linda was just talking about like McDonald's and automating things. And the way we think about that in terms of STEM is like, what's the sort of technology behind that? How might we not just learn maybe some of the principles, but how might we really open the door in the student's mind and their experience in a workshop to start to dream and develop and create solutions similar to that, or similar but also, not taking jobs, maybe creating jobs, or maybe local jobs, or whatever sort of the dynamics of that challenge might be for your particular, your group of students. That's like really important to us, that all of our workshops are designed for each group of students. And that's kind of a conversation thing that we have to get their hands on. So it's always lots of materials and fun in that way, and always connecting them to college careers and their confidence. We started Woven Learning in 2017. So there's really three versions. We do in person. That's probably our most common version, where our teachers will come to your location and they will run the program. We have teachers all over, but we don't have teachers everywhere. So sometimes if it's a short program, we have a teacher that needs to travel for like a 1 or 2 day program. Typically, we have teachers that will need to travel, but that also means we're really getting a specialized teacher for that specific workshop. For example, you're interested in forensic science. We have a few really great teachers that are really great at forensic science and really help make that workshop come to life. Virtual workshops, those are also really fun. We're doing fewer of those, but they're still really effective. For example, last Friday, we ran a virtual workshop with Kansas University. It was a 3D design and printing workshop. The sort of motivation behind doing a virtual 3D design and printing is that for this talent search program with so many students will register for it, but rather than us sending materials beforehand and the program having to spend materials on students who don't end up showing up to a virtual workshop, it's all about being there, participating, creating designs, and then we will print and then mail the students designs after the workshop. So that's like a fun, kind of clever, creative way to really balance the like who's attending a workshop versus who's signed up. It's a great way to just sort of, save some money and get good value for it. And that's just one version of a virtual workshop. And then the train the trainer with our ongoing support. That's probably like the least common. I think most often what happens is folks come and they say, we need you to come and just kind of run it from A to Z for our STEM portion, which is great. But also, I just got an email yesterday asking for just basically some curriculum and some support, and that would be sort of the train the trainer model. So we try to be really flexible to meet what you need and make sure we can, make that happen. We love just putting the tools in the students' hands, creating that lab or laboratory experience. A lab doesn't have to have the fancy science tables and the fancy equipment. Like, we can bring all of these things to your space to create that laboratory experience. Low barrier to entry means that we can work with students of all different capabilities and grades. So you maybe have a group, you want it to be all of your 9th through 12th graders in the STEM program, or maybe it's a talent search and that's like 6th through 12th grade. So what we do is we really make sure that we design it so it's simple for students to get in. So that low barrier to entry, that threshold to start to participate, but then we leave this really the opening and the opportunity for students to pursue much higher, and as they get into their projects and activities. And we definitely love to make college a clear next step. College was a really big deal for me. Personally, I really didn't like high school. And it was in college that I learned that I love learning. And then it took me some time, and then I became a teacher. So I was a teacher for 10 years in middle school. And then it just like this stuff came out of all of that process and my own experience. I wanted to run through some slides with a bunch of pictures just because I think pictures really, really tell us a lot. These are just some of our activities and workshops that we offer, and everyone is a little bit different. Sometimes they look really simple, consumable materials, inexpensive, that's great, but it's the way that we design it to be inquiry based. So you have things like a crane challenge and the one sort of in the bottom that's like a parachute, designing a parachute, and a earthquake proof building and 3D printing pins. Those are fun things. Drone program is lots of fun. Students get to learn about, flying drones, but also programming them to fly autonomously. We like to lean into companies that are doing really positive work with drones, like delivering urgent medical supplies to remote rural areas to save people's lives, which is amazing. And then other versions where it's about collecting data and weather, in the form of a sailboat drone, which is called Sail Drone. Pretty cool stuff. So this is just all of these like hands-on activities. It's really like our way of sparking that interest, and then we can start to input, like, hey, like this is an opportunity. These are careers. There's a college that might suit what you're looking for. We love to work with materials you already have. We do this often. Someone says, hey, I got that STEM money so many years ago and I bought some robots, or I got some 3D printers. So we love to try and help, in that space as well. So if you have it, let's try and use it. If not, then we can supply it. And typically, that's included inside the quote. There's different options with that. Sciences, from marine biology on the left to DNA on the right, and botany, and even just making slime. It's not just about mixing ingredients and then having something fun to play with. It's really about the chemical reaction. It's really about tying it into biology, because there's some it's called magnetoreceptors in certain animals and creatures, where they can actually line up with the Earth's poles, north south. And so doing things of that nature, where you add like magnetic powder, it's a great way to like turn something that's kind of really mental, like in your head, like what does that mean? What does that look like? Into something more physical, and playing in that way. Dissection, that's a dogfish shark. That's pretty fun stuff. Robotics, I'm sure a lot of you have done robotics. The one on the left, those are like robots that come pre-built, so they're pretty like quick to use. So not every robot program has to be, multiple weeks. We can do them pretty quickly. To the one on the right, which are actually spheros, which we don't, we just really end up using spheros because a lot of programs worked with a different company in the past that was selling spheros, maybe some of you. So if you have a kit of spheros, like we have got a lot of great new fun ideas. This one, they design these little carriages with balloons, and the goal is to like pop each other's balloons. Lots of fun stuff, but then they program it, they solve challenges, that sort of thing. Underwater robotics, we have this one that's coming up on Saturday. Super fun stuff. We're actually tying in AI into this ROV program. That's kind of how it works with us. As teachers, we're always like, how do we like keep reaching and bringing and connecting and making it really relevant? That's really, really exciting for us. So we're going to do some machine learning, which is a precursor to artificial intelligence, where they're using cameras underwater to identify different objects, and then the AI program will then be able to identify it without the student input. Simple idea, kind of complex, but really brings students to that next level and starts to get them thinking about uses of AI beyond ChatGPT or beyond, whatever they might be using at school. Forensic science, I mentioned that one already. Super fun. Solve the whodunit at the science fair. Someone sabotaged the science fair. And then the blood spatter stuff, we don't tie into the science fair. That's just like a separate thing. And that's often like if we have more time and folks are interested in that. But usually the students are super interested in the blood spatter. We're serious about STEM. Like that's what we do. This is all we do. It's just STEM. So including math. I just had an email today that was like, hey, we've got to make sure we include math in this part. That's no problem for us. It's really just finding out what you need, and then we just layer that part in. Game design, assistive technology. So instead of just making a game, we say, how might somebody interact with your game? What about someone who's maybe not as mobile? or doesn't have the same faculties that you might have. So that's a really great way to start challenging students to think a little bit outside themselves and maybe how they interact. It's a great way to bring in coding, even though we hear things like, oh, AIs will do the coding and stuff. We still need to know, we need to know a lot of this foundational stuff. We need to know what it's giving us. Is it accurate? Because we know AI is not giving us 100% truthful, accurate, wholesome information all the time, which leads me to AI. So this is just like something we've been doing, but also we're continuing to develop. So we're always open to new ideas, from identifying blood spatter patterns to the ROVs I mentioned, the underwater robots, to making AI videos and learning about misinformation and AI literacy. 3D design and printing, I mentioned that one with virtual, but we do it in person as well. Well, we can come and set up a printer. Let's say you have some money and you want to buy a printer, and we'll set it up for you and make sure you know how to use it with your students. Run a workshop and leave it in that space where you can keep using it. We do that often, or we will print it in our office and then send it back, just to whatever's simplest for you, whatever you would like to do. And then music, this is so fun. Where does music fit into STEM? Well, these are students who created these instruments, and then they actually code these little devices called microbits to make songs based on the conductivity of how they touch their instrument. So there's these little foil pads on there. That's how they create the conductive experience. This was just so many things that we do. It's because someone's like, hey, that might be fun, or hey, could we tie something in with animals? Someone wanted to do a zoo field trip, or another group wanted to do a zoo to you, and they brought some animals there. So we worked on prosthetics for animals, because that's super fun and cute, and why not, right? More just fun stuff. That balloon one is a NASA activity. Actually, it's all about flotation and kind of dialing in essentially the mass and getting that worked out. And then the elephant toothpaste, which is super fun. And then after the students did it, we had a really big one, which was super fun outside. That was great fun. This is a brand new one we haven't even run yet, but people are interested in it because we're trying to tie in some foreign language. Here's what happens. A director says, hey, Chris, I want to do this, but I also want to do that and tie in some foreign language. So then I just kind of sit and think about it. And this is what we came up with: an anime clip with Spanish subtitles. It's silent anime clip. The students will make all the sound effects, and then they'll also translate the subtitles. So we're tying in a little bit of foreign language into this STEM experience, and pretty great stuff. We have an interview from a professional Foley artist from Hollywood, which is pretty cool. So students get to take a look at that. Our mini med school is a new one for us. It's been already really popular. I was going to kind of zip through this really quickly, but this is kind of an overview from learning vital signs and suturing and trauma team. This is laparoscopic surgery activity. So this is the budget version with using cardboard boxes. And then we actually have a real laparoscopic torso trainer as well. So just trying to always work with budgets, super fun. Students learning suturing on the left on bananas, or we also use this fake skin, which is super fun, or a phlebotomy arm, which is pretty wild because they're using real needles and we'll make some jokes about all the blood and stuff. Good fun stuff. They learn to suture, which is great. Some fun games. Would you rather, to kind of help us and help yourselves learn a little bit more about your students. Always tying it into careers and where they might take it, and to things that maybe they're not thinking about, because we're not trying to push students to be doctors or students to be nurses, but rather the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of jobs in the medical industry, just in general. There's so many things, from a clinical data architect to a cybersecurity analyst to radiology AI trainer. So many different options, and just try and get students excited about that. So more kind of get to know your students. Would you rather do this or would you rather do that? Because when I was in high school, this stuff would have been really beneficial for me. Thinking, oh, maybe I should do that, but what feels like it kind of clicks with me. Talking about salaries, I know Linda was talking about that. Same kind of an idea here. So this would be sort of guess it, right? But I'm just revealing them all. And it's not, day one out of college, as we all know, but still, college is the path, and it's amazing. All of your upward bound math and science programs, all the tutor programs are brilliant. This is a matching game, quickly, just on our pricing, the in-person workshops can range from basically about 4,000 to over 30,000. That's just because someone says, "Hey, I really want to do all these amazing, crazy things." So that's not normal, just so you know. Like it's much closer, I would say, average to like the maybe 7 to 10,000. That's much more like average for us. Virtual, it's much less. It's 2,500 to 5,500. Depends on materials. Is really what makes these ranges go. And time, and then train the trainer from 1,000 to up. Again, it really depends on the materials. And I just want to say thank you all for listening. I'm grateful that you gave me this time. I'm thankful to be here and happy to answer questions. And that's it for me. Thank you. I'm gonna
Oh my
stop
gosh,
sharing.
Chris, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I love the pictures. That's always helpful, right? They speak, they really portray the services that you all and resources that you have. One of the things I picked up on, and that's why I said, oh, I need you to help me present this because I was intrigued with the laboratory. I've always
Mm.
been an agency, Upward Bound Math Science. I didn't have access. And even some of you that are funded through a college, I bet they're not exactly excited about opening up their laboratories to have high school students run around on them, through them and the liability, right? So this way they get the experience, it's safe, you can control the environment, and please in the chat go ahead and ask Chris any questions. So Chris, if you could check out the chat or the Q&A, and hopefully we'll have some time at the very end. But we did post his website, so please contact him as well as Linda if you'd like to find out additional information. Right? So I'm going to take it on back to the PowerPoint real quick and shift over to, thank you again, Chris. You can see me, right? Okay, great. So let's now focus on the third component of a strong, effective summer component is that college, the college readiness and student development. And again, readiness is also a big buzzword moving forward. College and career readiness, student development always. There's a regulation specific to that at 645.11, and it covers these required services. Now, I didn't put all of them, but starting with number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are things that we have to offer. We have to make sure they're in place. It doesn't mean that every single student must receive this service. Just like when we talked about instruction, I wanted to clear, and I was trying to clarify that in the chat and the Q&A. You have to make sure that you have prepared, ready to serve, have arranged, have scheduled for all those core classes to be provided annually, yearly. You must have a curriculum. You must show how you had a schedule. You must show how you had a course. Now, it could have been during the academic year, combination with the summer. Most of us try to do it in the summer, perhaps. But I want to stress that it doesn't mean that every single student must be enrolled or receive every single one of those core classes. When we do our planning and scheduling, that's what we intend to do. But if you've got someone who, for example, in the chat or the Q&A, perhaps English is a second language, maybe don't push them to take the foreign language, but maybe they need to spend more time in English and literature and focus on that. So you can, that's the beauty of it. If you're running the school on an individual basis, and I know Linda's company helps with that pre-assessment academic skills of what students will need. So you can tailor exactly which classes they should be involved in because it should be per student. I probably needed to be completely in math all summer, concentrating on that, not so much the English. But I'm in compliance as a project director, as a project, if I can show that, look, I had all these core classes offered, they were going on. Now, ask me if every single student received every single course. Most of them did, but some of them did not, but that's okay. That's okay. Just like on these services here, you have to be prepared in a compliance assessment to demonstrate, yes, I have our schedule, we have our curriculum listing, here's the resources that we utilize. Now, I'm never committed to telling you that every single student received all of these. The difference is that we as a project were willing, able, ready to provide these services. We had it scheduled, but not every student has to receive everything. Okay. It should be in what they specifically need, and stuff happens. Students don't show up, they can't make it. but at least you were ready to provide that. So this means that college planning is its intent. You focus, or it gets across that it's required. Also that financial aid support, information about it, not just, not actual money, but preparing for it, saving for it, knowing where it's at, and also about how student development supports persistence, not only in high school and college, but also as they in the career path, right? So I just wanted to focus on that and make sure that, that's something that you will probably have to break it down to someone who's new to our family of Upward Bound, which would be the Department of Labor, right? So we have another poll here. I think it's our last one. Which area do your students need the most support in? Okay. So let us know where you think. There's no right or wrong answer. Let us know where you think they need support in right now. Okay. And so as that's going on, we'll let that go for a minute. And I'm going to now turn over to my friend Luis from Pre-Degree. He's going to help us and talk about how Pre-Degree helps with college readiness and student development. So I'll stop sharing, Luis, and you go ahead and take it away.
Perfect.
Thanks, Luis. Thanks for the extra. I know you made it happen, man.
I I sorry, my apologies.
That's okay.
No, I
That's
spoke to the company and it was an outage. So
You don't need to. I'm the queen of internet outages, so
it,
don't
it was
even.
an outage, and so my local library didn't have internet. So I'm actually at my parents' house. So
So he traveled for this one. We're all, but thank you so much. So I'll go ahead and let you
really
go, and your timer is on.
perfect. For those of y'all that don't know me, my name is Luis Perez. I am the founder and CEO of Pre-Degree. My entire career has been in education. So I was a teacher for 5 years, and then I had the opportunity to run an Upward Bound program at Coastal Bend College. And then Upward Bound program at Palo Alto College and a talent search program at Coastal Bend College. And then from there, I founded Pre-Degree. Today, I wanted to talk to you about effective college readiness curriculum for your summer component. And so I'm kind of going to start with the slide. But before I do go over that, I just want to re-emphasize something that Lisa said early on. When I was an Upward Bound director, the most intense part of our year was prepping for and then running our summer program. It was like 30 consecutive academic Saturdays. But I mean, what an opportunity for students to not just hear the information you present, but actually practice it, engage with it, really take a deep dive and get prepared for next academic year and then again post-secondary education. But yeah, going over the little poll, I took a quick picture. It looks like it was pretty spread out. College knowledge was at 16%, financial literacy 23%, career exploration 30%, SEO content 31%.
Yep.
So it's all over the place. And each category is important. A lot of people believe that these are the 4 pillars of college readiness curriculum. And I put some really important topics in each one. There's about 35 topics under each category, but to be completely honest, I could put 35 categories easily into each category, which can seem overwhelming. But if we're talking about effective college readiness curriculum, this is the foundation of your college readiness curriculum, right? We talked about it being the 4 pillars. So once you divide everything you want to teach your students into these 4 categories, that's the basis of that's where we start when we are creating our curriculum or purchasing our curriculum or a mixture of both. I really want to bring up this. Just like the speakers before me, 15 minutes is very, very limited amount of time. And we actually do a staff development workshop that takes a couple of hours on effective curriculum and effective summer curriculum. But because time is so limited, I'm just going to touch on each one. And then I want to show you the resources that we have available to y'all. Since I can't teach everything or cover everything in a short amount of time, I want to make sure that that information is accessible to you, your program, because we want each program, if you're spending the time this summer to teach, we want your content, we want your curriculum to be as effective as possible. So just a quick run through at the heart, at the basis, at the foundation, all your curriculum needs to meet your program and your students' needs. So that can mean a lot of things. Is it effective for your students? Is it going to prepare them for post-secondary education? Does it fit within your budget? Does it fit within your time frame? Because I know every program works a little bit differently. They have a little bit different amounts of time with their students. Is it comprehensive? Because I want to make sure there are no holes in our students' curriculum. We want to make sure that they are completely prepared for whatever post-secondary education has for them. And being first-gen low-income students, any gap in their knowledge could really, really set them back. You absolutely want to provide opportunities for engagement. Sometimes during the academic year, we have as little as 5 minutes with students. And in those cases, we give them the information that we want them to consume, whether in front of us or later on. But your summer programming allows for students to play games, again, to engage and to really drill down these topics so that they have them with them once they're no longer with you. And then after you do all that, after you teach them something, we want to assess comprehension. We want to make sure that our lessons are differentiated and evolving, so that as things change, and a lot of things have changed in the last year or so, that our lessons are also including those changes. And then we want to make sure it's clear, it's organized, visually appealing, and it really simplifies learning for our students. So I'm gonna get out of this, and I want to show you some of the free resources we have for you. Because again, 15 minutes can go by quickly. In the Google Drive, we have a copy to this presentation. We also have a handout, Designing an Effective Summer Component. So it's a little self-check for your program to see if you're doing things to the highest standard that you can, and it gives you an idea of where you can improve. It has this pyramid for you, but then there's a lot of tips for improving student attendance, improving engagement, and then there are some evidence-based strategies that you can use in your curriculum. And then if you have this one page with you, it's again a QR code to all these free resources. But I want to make sure that if you are creating parts of your curriculum, purchasing curriculum, that the materials you use covers all of this. There's also a lot of really great stuff. Strategies and tools for engagement. How can you get students up and moving and interacting? And there's strategies for writing, for discussion, for play, for movement, real simple things that you can apply tomorrow and can really make your lessons pop and help your students. So a lot of great tips for you. Plus a lot of great stuff, decreasing prep time, utilizing AI prompts. We have blank scope and sequences. The one to the left is great for the academic year. The one for the right is really, really great for just planning your summer programming lessons. When you're going to teach it, the lesson, the objective, the duration, separated by all 4 pillars, and then a blank one, because we really want to make sure you have everything you need to succeed. And then a summer program feedback form, because I know you learn from books, I know you learn from peers, I know you learn from webinars like this, but one of the best sources for you to learn from is your students. So something that you can give to your students at the end of this summer program to make next year's even better. And then at the very top is a link to our free degree page, which you can click on it, you can check it out later. A lot of free resources that you can use again today. Headed to College is an interactive game that's great for vocabulary. We have a complete lesson with student assignment, student handouts, a lot of really, really good stuff. A college kickstart, so something that you can give, a checklist that you can give your your bridge students, so that they know, hey, I can check off all these successes during my first year of college. It's a lot of really great stuff. It's really important for pre-degree that every TRIO program has the tools that they need to succeed. And we want to do everything we can to help out in every way that we can. Now, to be completely honest, our free resources are a drop in the bucket for some of the things we can offer your programs. We have college readiness workbooks. We have a lesson library, an activity kit, hands-on workshops. And I'm going to dive into them a little bit because about 80% of y'all are not completely done planning summer programming. And there's a lot of ways that we can help immediately. We have grade-specific college workbooks. They have a pre-test, a post-test, review questions, a lot of opportunities for engagement, a lot of assignments throughout. They have an academic planner. All of our products have scholarship opportunities, but a lot of programs purchase workbooks in the summer for their students who can attend. And it's really simple. If you have a student who can't come to your summer programming, to assign them, hey, make sure you read page 52 and answer the questions that accompany it. It's really simple to just email, message your students with what their assignments are while they're missing the summer programming. We also have digital lessons. If you're teaching a college readiness class, 28 complete lessons with presentations that come with presenter notes, a lot of engaging activities within those presentations, handouts, like you see pictured in the slide, student assignments. It really simplifies teaching a group of kids for an hour, hour and a half. It's done for you. We also have activity kits, 45 low or no prep games and activities. We have board games, card games, all the supplies you need. Just a really fun way to increase engagement. Students love them. And teach a lot of the stuff you need to teach: interview skills, time management, resume building, being a leader, budgeting, a lot of really, really good stuff, a lot of college readiness, a lot of college vocabulary. And like I said, students always have a blast. And then we come in summers and we do workshops. We can do 4-hour workshops. We can do 8-hour workshops. We can come in one day. We can come in multiple days. There's just so many ways programs utilize our resources. For the lessons, again, they don't have to worry about what they're going to teach in their college readiness class, which can be a huge burden for y'all. For activity kits, we always have rave reviews. We've never heard anything negative, but building games is probably one of the best ways to get students to engage. It's just so time consuming, and we have it done for you. And then again, the workshops, we already have. I went to a workshop last week, Texas State University. We did a great lesson on are you a problem solver? And we already have a lot of bookings for summer, but a lot of openings. There's just a lot of great resources. If you're not completely planned for summer, we're always happy to help. This is my information, my email, our website, QR code. If there's anything you need help with, we're always happy to help.
Hey, Luis, thanks for that. And
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate that. And you actually have a little bit of time if you'd like to go back and
Yeah.
or if you have any, I don't see any questions directly related to that, but I know from your experience being a talent search and upward bound director in programming, specific to the summer, I think you did give us examples on what y'all do. But what I like about your products are that they're very flexible, depending on your
Absolutely.
budget and how you want to implement them. And I was always big on pre and post testing. So you want to tell us a little bit about some of the workshops where you're able to do that, because now we're all about measuring outcomes, and that's what talent search is forcing us to do.
Yeah, absolutely. The pre and the post tests for academic workbooks are huge, but I think any time that we can assess knowledge is great. And so we do a great job within our lessons. We also do a great job in our activity kit. Not only do we have classroom activities, but we have exit lessons as well. just different fun ways to make sure you can measure student progress and assess their comprehension. Since we do have free time, I could pop up, show you what our digital lesson library looks like.
Yeah.
This is, again, example of a lot of handouts within the lessons. And then these are lessons that you would have access to that really simplifies teachings. I have multiple programs who utilize college students. And it's so simple that they use some of their college students to teach some of the content. But within each lesson, there's a lesson guide that breaks everything down for you, objective, time required, important vocabulary, and then tips, twists, so that teaching is a cinch. Links to other valuable resources that you can include within the presentation, a student assignment for, again, every lesson, a student handout. If there's anything that you're lacking, these are things that you could utilize almost instantly if it's our digital lessons, or within a week or two if you really have a lot of content that you still need to put together. But yeah, I'm open to any questions if anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Louise, so much. I appreciate you sharing that. And by the way, everyone has been asking about the Google Drive we will have. I'm assuming it's cool with y'all when you're ready. If you just want to email me or Donna, presenters, whatever you want to put in the folders, or even if it's a link, and we'll put those in the folders for folks to access. Okay, so just let me know. So y'all are not missing anything or need any special password to get into those folders. Yes, I know they're empty. We will get them filled up as soon as we get the materials, and you can always then access, and of course it'll have your contact information there as well. So just want to wrap things up. I want to make sure I'm sharing this here just to kind of put it all together, so we can wrap this up. Balanced summer programming, make sure you focus on academic instruction. The rigor and the rigorous secondary school program of study definition are very, very important. Great questions in the Q&A. I did put the link to the 6 different definitions. The same Talent Search has the same definitions as Upward Bound has. We can't pick our own definition, but we can't make up, I'm sorry, we can't make up our own definition. You must pick one of the 6 that are listed there. So you might want to check it out. Make sure you're aware which definition you fall under. You all pick, you focus on that, and it's tied into your objective. STEM enrichment and career pathways awareness. Okay, college and career readiness. Notice the wording there, and always student support and social emotional learning. Someone had asked, about student development. What does that mean in Upward Bound? That means the whole student, not just academically, but all these other things to help support students so they can be, a successful not only in high school and in college, going to college, but both also career wise. So it's a whole package deal. And we get to do that in Upward Bound, unlike in Talent Search, because of the resources and lack of time we have with students, we really don't get to work with the whole student. So again, you want to make sure when you're building this or selling this on paper, which you guys will be doing pretty soon, is making sure that the summer component is directly aligned with the required services and also with your objectives, and that it has a clear purpose. It has an intentional design. It's not by accident or optional. It's a school. These are the specific objectives we're going to work on this summer. And usually they're the academic objectives. You can also have internal goals to measure the supportive services as well. Okay, so it has to be an intentional design. That's what folks are going to be looking in from the outside, looking in. You want to make sure it does have some balance between academic, STEM, college, and career readiness. And this is the big deal. This is what I'm having to get used to with Talent Search, the way I describe how we do our activities. It's not that we're going to be doing additional activities and services. It's just that now, whenever I speak about them or write about them, everything now is focused on outcomes. Either post-secondary career success or short-term outcomes. Like, why do we do tutoring? We're doing tutoring. We offer tutoring to prepare students for academic rigor in college, so that they are prepared for college. It's almost like we have to complete the sentence. We do career advising or access to career pathways to improve their chances of being put in a successful, in a major that's appropriate to them, or in career success. So everything now, when we speak about it, we just can't say, oh, we do this. We do this because it's leading to this. That's the big deal. Okay, that's the big takeaway. Now, for those of you that want more information about our our allowable cost upward bound math science professional development online course, you can click here. Also, we have the on-demand recording for that. Those are allowable costs. I want to thank the presenters here. We do have a little bit of time for Q&A if we have any for the presenters. I don't know if we've been answering along the way. I don't see any Q&A anymore. We have some chat. We will make sure that there'll be a copy of this recording. It'll be available tomorrow in the NEC blog and also in the Google Drive resources and also on our NEC YouTube channel. I don't see any questions. I think we've been handling them as we go along. But I want to thank everybody here. Luis, I know you went through everything and everywhere to go get internet. I appreciate that. Linda as well. And also Chris, thank you so much. And as usual, Donna and Leah, I couldn't do this without you all. So thank you all so much. So hopefully this is something that you were able to get a little bit of regulatory language or getting yourself into the right mindset for planning for the summer and realizing how important it is and also planning for the future, how really it'll be looked on. It's our biggest component. It's what we're known for. And so we got to make sure we give it the respect and because we do fabulous stuff during the summer. And I think sometimes we forget how great we are during the summer. And there's certain things we need to point out and stress. And don't think that you have to do everything yourself. Outsource. It's an allowable cost. If you've got the funding, get some help. Okay. All right. So I hope this was helpful for you all. Let us know if you have any questions. But I want to thank everyone again. Thank you all so much. So we can stop the recording now. I think I have one more question I'll answer, and I'll stay on for a bit. Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much, y'all.